And at this time, it is my privilege to welcome you to our community and to hear your story. If you want to share it anytime.
No, I'm good. Hello, my name is Ellen Bottner. I was born April 25th, 1933. I'm old. My early recollections. I must have had a very good childhood because I don't remember anything. I remember living with my mother, my father, my sister Inga, my grandmother, my mother's mother, Oma Betty. My mother's family consisted of her brother, Kurt, her sister, Lisa. My father's family, my grandmother. My father had 2 brothers and 2 sisters. We were a happy family. We lived in Rexingen. Here is me, 4 or 5 years old. That's the map. We lived in the southern part of Germany, near Stuttgart. My first real, all of you must know about the Nuremberg laws where the rights of all Jews were removed. But I don't remember any hardships. It was a happy life. First recollections, Kristallnacht. I remember the Germans goose-stepping through the town. My mother holding my sister and I. We could feel the fears. The soldiers came looking for my father. We had a horse trough in the back of the house. My father hid in the horse trough covered with straw. And the soldiers didn't find him. My mother's family was in the leather business, and my father always worked for them. But after Kristallnacht, he had to work on the railroad for the German government. There was fear. My father used my sister's bicycle to get to work. And one day the bicycle was broken. And I clearly remembered the fear in the family that my father could not get to work. Kristallnacht. My sister Inga had gone to school. I didn't go to school yet. I remember going with my mother looking for Inga. I remember the synagogue burning. Right after Kristallnacht, the English Parliament passed a law that they would accept children who were being persecuted and endangered, Jewish and other children. They did not mention a religion when they passed this law. Each child had to have 50 pounds deposited so that we would never become wards of the state, and we would have money to leave England after the war. We also had to have an address. We had to have a place to live so that we would never be wards of the state. The Jewish community in England, plus the Quakers, who were very instrumental in the Kindertransport, raised money, found homes. If there was an empty summer camp, if there was an empty school building, anything they could find, They got it and made it ready for approximate 10,000 children. Can you imagine between December 1938 and August 1939, 10,000 children they got out of the countries. Poland, Germany, Czechoslovakia, France, Belgium, Holland. My uncle, my father's brother, my Uncle Seli, was very active in Jewish affairs, and he informed my parents about the Kindertransport. Again, we were very lucky. My mother's family ran an international leather business, and they traveled all over the world. And anyone who left Germany on vacation, business, learned what was going on. When you lived in Germany, the newspapers said how wonderful everything is because it was controlled by the government. But if you left, you read what was happening. And if you were lucky enough to have the money or the connections, you got out. My mother's family moved the business to the United States. They sponsored my family. We had visas to come to the United States, but you couldn't just get on a ship. You had a quota number, and you had to wait until your quota was called. So my parents, plus parents of another first cousin, decided to send us 3 children to England on the Kindertransport. Again, we were very lucky. We were assigned to a family. My mother's sister, my Aunt Lisa, had emigrated to England and was working for a maid in Manchester. My parents were informed of the family we were going to be living with. They lived in Manchester. They got in touch with my Aunt Lisa. My parents corresponded with them. So my parents knew exactly where we were going. July 1939. One morning we got up. My mother put 3 layers of clothes on us, including a winter coat. Those days, nobody told you anything. My mother took us to the railroad station with 1 suitcase. We were allowed to take 1 suitcase. One of the requirements to get on the Kindertransport, you had to be able to carry your 1 suitcase. So the age started like 3, 4 years old. The oldest was 17. There is a story that one girl took her baby sister. My mother took us by train to Stuttgart. I don't remember saying goodbye to my mother. I didn't know what was happening. I don't know if my mother had informed my sister. We never discussed it. But in Stuttgart, we met the other children who were going on the Kindertransport. We got on trains, went to Belgium, got on a ship, crossed the English Channel. The only thing I remember about the trip was in the morning we went to the dining room. And for the first time in my life, I ate white bread. And I thought it was cake, because we always ate rustic breads. Anyway, get to England, get on another train, go to London. Get off the train, go into a large room, and people came to pick up the children who were assigned to them. My foster parents had asked my Aunt Lisa to come and pick us up in London, as they felt it would be less traumatic for us to see a familiar face. Got on a train, went up to Manchester. Again, Inge and I were very, very lucky. We were met by a car. 39, nobody had cars. We were taken to this magnificent house, East Home, in Prestwich, Manchester, with a magnificent lawn and gardens and trees, and just magnificent. There we met my foster parents, Willie and Ray Shallett. Uncle Willie was a Russian immigrant who was very successful. Aunt Ray, I think, came from Romania. They had 2 daughters, Pauline, 14, Cecilia, 18. We lived a very nice life. We're learning to speak English, had a wonderful summer in the gardens and running and playing. September, we start school. One morning we get up. Suitcases packed again. Because of the war, the English government was afraid of bombings. So every large city, they evacuated the school children to safer areas. Uncle Willie takes us to school, and there he meets Mr. Dunn, his friend Mr. Dunn. Mr. Dunn had 2 daughters, Mari, 12, Adele, 7. Uncle Willie tells Mari, "You do not let these children out of your sight." We weren't proficient in English. I'm sure by that time we understood something. But Mari was in charge of us. We get on a train and go to this little fishing village on the west coast of England, Fleetwood. Again, we go to a big room, and the townspeople came to claim who had signed up to take children. Who wants 4 girls? Nobody wants 4 girls. Again, we were very, very lucky. 2 women, Maud and Muriel Bailey. Aunt Muriel was the principal of the elementary school. Aunt Maud was the justice of the peace. Neither had ever married, had no children. They took on 4 girls. Luckily, they had a house large enough to accommodate all of us. In fact, the house was so big that after the war, it was turned into a maternity hospital. It wasn't exactly Downton Abbey, but it was pretty big because they had a school in the back of the house, which the army took over during the war. We had a good life. We were educated. We had culture. We had the beach. It was a small sea resort. We wandered. We were free. We were good. And all this time, my parents always knew where we were. We always corresponded with my parents. They always sent us packages with chocolates and goodies. And we appreciated them because we had rationing. We were never hungry. We always had potatoes or vegetables or something to eat. But England is such a small island, they had to import everything. But we never went hungry. Had a good life. Came the holidays when school was closed. We used to go back to Manchester to Uncle Willie and Aunt Ray. I specifically remember one Passover. Uncle Willie invited American soldiers to come to our Seder. One of the soldiers came from New York, and he wrote to his wife about us, and she got in touch with my parents and told them how well we were doing. Go forward to 1944. The war was going slower. We were winning. There were still bombings, but not as many. And Maury and Adele went back to Manchester. And Aunt Muriel and Aunt Maud decided it was time to give us up. Uncle Willie took us to an orphanage in Blackpool, which is a resort town, bigger than Fleetwood, also resort. It was quite traumatic for us because all of these children, all of these girls, had come to England on the Kindertransport, and they had no idea where their parents were. Can you imagine being a teenager? You haven't heard from your parents for 2-3 years. By that time, we knew what Auschwitz was, and the killings, the deprivations. They didn't know what the future would be. Some of these girls were 17, 18 years old. Once you reached 18, you were no longer under the protection of the Kindertransport. So a lot of these children who reached 18 would get apartments together, and they became their families. I remember distinctly one living in this orphanage. We received a package from my parents with all our chocolate and goodies. And the matron only wanted us to share it with the other children, and I didn't want to share it. I was not a good child. Came January 1945. Uncle Willie comes, and we pack our suitcases. We're waiting for a ship to come to the United States. We waited until February 1945. Uncle Willie takes us to Liverpool, and we get on the ship MS Aria. Took us 2 weeks to cross the Atlantic because we were in a convoy. And you have to travel at the rate of the slowest ship. And there was still the danger of the U-boats. Not as much, but still. From the first night, we went down to the dining room. Oh my God, we had never in our lives seen such a banquet. Fruits, vegetables, meats, cakes, whatever you wanted. And Inga and I ate like pigs. I never saw the dining room again. The minute the ship left the dock, I got seasick. Never go on a cruise in the high Atlantic in February. As I said, it took us 2 weeks. It was a rough trip. I will never go on a cruise. I have never gotten over the trauma of that trip. Anyway, we land in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Get on a train, come down to New York. And my parents are waiting for us in Penn Station. They had dreams of their children coming, and we had dreams of being with our loving parents. I always say, I was treated very, very well in England. But nobody ever hugged and kissed me and told me they loved me. But I had my sister Inga, my older sister, always took care of me. So we get to Penn Station. I recognized my mother. I did not recognize my father. And we get on the subway and go to Washington Heights. I don't know if any of you have been up to Washington Heights, with the buildings, old buildings, one on top of the other, tenements, loads of people. It was a complete culture shock. And they lived in this old building, a 4-room apartment, after the trauma of living in such beautiful homes in England. But as children, you get used to everything. Started school. I was different, always different. I spoke with an English accent. My parents still lived the way they did in Germany. You didn't spend any money on anything that wasn't necessary. They ate, they slept, they went to work. That was their life. And we were used to more. There was a complete culture difference. And we did not get along. I went to work when I was 14. I've been self-supporting since I'm 14. But life has been very good. Inga got married in 1953 to Stanley Tomarkin. She had 3 daughters, Barbara, Gwenny, and Karen. Barbara has 1 daughter, Casey, with 2 granddaughters. I have 2 great-grandnieces. Gwenny passed away in 2018 of cancer. Gwenny had 3 children, a girl and 2 boys. Karen has 2 boys, Evan and Jason, and both are engaged to be married. I got married to Joe Bottner in 1957. I had 2 sons, Douglas, who's here, and my son Robert, who lives in Idaho. Rob never married. Douglas has 2 daughters. I have 2 granddaughters. Jacqueline, who lives in Sydney, Australia, who's married to Tim Webster, and we have a little boy, Levi. My maiden name is Levi, and they named him after my family. Gwenny was married to Kevin this past September, and we're all getting together exactly 1 month from today in Hawaii. And that's my story. Do you have any questions?
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah. How did your parents get out?
How did your
Oh,
parents get
my
out?
parents, as I told you, we had visas. We had sponsors to come here. My father got out September 1st, 1939, the day war broke out. My mother left May of 1941. Oh, you could get out. The original plan, family plan, had been for my mother, when she came over here, to stop in England and pick us up. But of course, England was at war with Germany at that time, so the ship couldn't stop in England. But we weren't at war. We weren't at war till December. So my parents were able to get out.
Is there any other questions? Okay. Olivia, how did you meet your husband?
How did I meet my husband? (1956). We used, in the summer, there was the Borscht Belt, the hotels. One weekend, no, it began before that. I had an apartment with a girlfriend, Joan, and she went to one of the hotels, and she met a young man, and one day, Jack and his friends came to our apartment in Brooklyn. I was going out when they came in, and I saw Joe. I said, oh, he's cute, I like him. I'd like to go out with him. Labor Day weekend, 1956, Joan and I went to the hotel. Saturday night, Joe asked me to dance. He never got away again. We were married. We were engaged by December and married by April. And now I have another wonderful man. So I'm very lucky.
Is there any other questions?
Which hotel?
Which hotel?
I'm trying to remember the name at 92. It will come to me in 5 minutes.
Was it the Nepali?
No, that's where we went on a honeymoon.
Oh! Is there anyone else? Emily?
All right. We have an association, the Kindertransport Association. And I joined in 1992. The first reunion was in England in 1989. And over 1,000 children came. So a group decided to form the Kindertransport Association in the United States. And in 1992, they had a reunion at the Marriott in the financial district. And I learned about it, and I went all alone. I don't know if I had mentioned, Inga died in 1986. It was an experience. I have never met such a strong group of people. You have to understand, I mean, mine was a very good experience. But you still had to be strong. I had to stand on my own 2 feet. And you could just feel the vibrance of these people. Sad thing, 1995, I became the treasurer. We had 700 survivors. We're now down to 175. But we have many second generation and third generation who are members of the Kindertransport Association. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
First, I want to say thank you. I want to thank you for being the inspiration that you are, for sharing your story, for educating our youth. We thank you, and I just want to call our teens up for a minute.
I just want to say to the children, be proud that you're Jewish. Stand on your own 2 feet. Be independent. Don't be afraid.
I'd like to invite our teens up for a minute. I'd like to ask Ed and Rabbi David to assist with a big happy birthday for you.
Oh my God, thank you. How beautiful.
Come on up,
Everybody ready?
Come on up, everybody. We're going to sing very, very loud.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Red. Happy birthday to